How's it going, Ram fans? Welcome back to another edition of CTV Sports. I'm Mike Walsh.
And I'm Ella Fredrickson, and here's what we've got on tap for you tonight.
Colorado State athletics have continued to bring success to campus, from the Jack Christensen Memorial Track to Moby Arena.
Both women's and men's basketball face the New Mexico Lobos again this week, with the women tipping off in less than an hour.
Plus, some of our biggest takes going into the big game.
All that and more right here on CTV Sports, which starts right now.
And to start off the show, we go just across campus to Moby Arena, the host of one of the cooler theme games of the year.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Mike. The Fight Like a Ram game is one that all athletes get excited for, as they get to recognize not only cancer survivors with their last name printed on the back of the jerseys, but just the battle they've all been through.
Yeah, no, it's just an awesome day. Ryan Williams captured this event perfectly, saying it is the best thing we do here at Colorado State, and the whole team embodied that message pregame, going and visiting some cancer warriors at the UC Health Center in Fort Collins.
But there is only so much that the women can do before the game, so let's get into the recap of the matchup with the Falcons of Air Force.
This one was just about the opposite of what Ram fans had in mind, as it seemed like the team was playing from behind all game, according to star forward Emma Ronziek. And right she was, as the Rams were outscored in every quarter but the final one, making mistakes on both ends and unfortunately being at the wrong end of a hot Air Force shooting night. This one just fell out of the Rams' control in the moments that they absolutely needed to be perfect.
And Mike, the numbers aren't great either for the Rams, as their three-point efficiency was more than 20% worse than the Falcons. Yeah. And what's more, the green and gold lost the rebound battle by a huge margin. More specifically, the offensive rebound battle, 5 more total for Air Force. That hurts.
But even with that loss, the Rams still had some bright spots with some eye-popping stat lines. You know, Emma Ronziek was there, Hannah Ronziek was there. Emma Ronziek with 27 points. Brooke Carlson obviously on there. Hannah, her sister, we know that duo is just incredible. What really stands out to me is those 3 blocks.
I was just about to say that. I mean, not just the 8 rebounds, being a big body down low, but the 3 blocks is huge.
And she's a few inches shorter than Emma, so it's weird that Emma, I think, only had 3 rebounds in this game and no blocks.
You can tell her size is there, though. Yeah. She makes her presence very, very clear on the court.
And the Rams have no time to waste, as they're actually going to be tipping off tonight in just a little bit here at 8:30. Yeah. Ella, how are you feeling about their chances for a bounce-back win tonight?
I was hoping that wasn't the question you were going to ask me.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, I'm not feeling great about the Rams' odds tonight. New Mexico is a good team.
Yeah,
you know, it's not to say that we can't compete with the better parts of the Mountain West Conference. The Lobos are just strong, unfortunately. Yeah.
And I don't think this Air Force team was that great, so it kind of hurts them. But then going in that next game against Boise, that's an even tougher one.
Yeah.
I mean, sitting at 15-8.
Back to back, that's a tough thing.
This is looking like a better team than New Mexico, so it's like, feels like 2 tough games.
Yeah, and regardless of that Air Force loss, the Rams themselves and as a team have proved to be so resilient. So make sure you tune in next week to hear what happened for the women tonight. And then, of course, we've got other sports we got to talk about.
We got to. Let's go to some swim and dive.
Let's do it.
Right now. And I have to be honest, there was not a whole lot of swimming done, as this past weekend focused on the diving aspect of the team. Competing down at the Air Force Diving Invitational, the Rams saw some new faces finally get their chance to compete, including 3 freshmen representing the Rams on their final day. Up on the platform tower, these new Rams were set up for dives, as they had very little experience. Still though, Riley Lee, McKenna Post, and Noelle Tobin pushed through it and put up some pretty respectable scores, with all 3 reaching scores about 121. And after the dives, coach Chris Berg was high on his athletes, saying this: McKenna and Noelle are just very new to competitive Division I diving. Both show ability, but both are not competitive yet. It takes time, and everyone has a starting point, and then it's just up to the individual to commit. And Berg also says that he felt better as a team after this weekend, and the team needs to be at their best in the coming weeks, as the Mountain West Championships are just around the corner on February 19th through the 22nd.
Colorado State track and field wrapped up a successful weekend, not just at the Colorado Invitational, but the New Mexico Team Open in Albuquerque, highlighted by record-breaking performances and multiple event wins. Maria Kimson made history in the women's pole vault, clearing 4.2 meters to break the program record previously shared with Selen Sturmer. On the men's side, Sam Murkey claimed his 2nd straight win, and Elijah Scott won the men's high jump with a mark of 1.91 meters. In the women's mile, program record holder Anna Peter finished 2nd with a time of 4:48.30, while freshman Allison Pippert took 3rd in her mile debut with 4:53.52. In the men's 800 meter, Ruben Holness clocked a 1:52 for a first place finish and 16th in program history. In the 400 meter, Oklahoma Baptist transfer Emmett Murphy posted a personal best 48.28 seconds, tying for 13th in school history. To no surprise, Maya Lesner dominated in her first competition of the season, winning the shot put with a nation-leading throw of 18.81, outdistancing the next best mark in the country by over 8 inches. In the men's 60-meter hurdles, Cole Nordman, clocked 7.73 seconds for a third-place finish. Kyle Bigley set a personal best in the shot put with a mark of 18.28, remaining 5th all-time in program history. The men's triple jump featured 3 top 10 finishes for the Rams, featuring Ismail Dembele and taking 4th, Jamison Taylor. On the women's side, Kylie Kellen continued her climb in the record book, moving up to 11th all-time in the triple jump with a mark of 11.89. The Rams will take a week off to prepare for the Don Kirby Elite in Albuquerque and the Husky Classic in Seattle, both set for February 14th through the 15th. Now, how about some golf?
The CSU women's golf team took the long trip past the southern border to Guadalajara, Mexico for the 2-day Collegiate Invitational. This was a great introduction for the Rams spring season as they played 18 of 63 ranked players this weekend as well as 6 out of 12 ranked teams. And as the weekend rounded down, there was only one player from the green and gold in the top 38. As Cara Caniciaro continues her dominant play from this past fall season, claiming the 14th place spot and shooting a +3 for the weekend. And as I said, she was alone atop the leaderboard, as the next Ram didn't appear till 39th, with Pamika Aframangakol with a score of +14. And after her, it was 3 different Rams placing from 42nd to 57th. And although the placements were not exactly favorable, the Rams had an exciting final round, as 4 out of the 5 members of the green and gold had their best performances on Saturday. So in total, the Rams saw some promising play against some of the top competition in the country, and they'll need to keep that level of play up as they travel down to Peoria, Arizona on February 23rd to compete in the Westbrook Invitational.
CSU softball season is about to start, but while we're having some technical difficulties, don't go anywhere just yet, because when we come back, we'll look at that schedule and you'll get to know what to expect for the spring.
After 2 years?
You gotta be kidding me!
Okay, no.
Robbie.
Seriously, do you have anything you can use against the dragon?
I can do fireball. That'll do a lot of damage.
Yeah, to all of us.
Well,
We're in a 4-foot room.
I'm sorry. What else do you want me to do? Okay.
Hold on. All right. Wizard. You gonna roll?
Excuse the technical difficulties, but we are still going to be talking about basketball. Welcome back from the break, Rams. My name is Hunter Strand. The women's and men's basketball team head down to New Mexico for the next couple of days. The women play tonight and the men tomorrow night. On the men's side of things, the Lobos sit at the top of the conference with a record of 10-4 and an overall record of 18-4. If the Rams want to have a shot at making March Madness this year, they need to start by winning this game tomorrow night. New Mexico has already beat the Rams in Moby Arena this year back on December 28th. The Lobos beat the Rams 78-68 in Moby Arena. The Rams almost completed a 16-point comeback but fell short. If the Rams want to win this game tomorrow night, they're going to have to start faster than they did in their previous matchup. Both teams have a lot of momentum right now, with both teams having a 4-game win streak and New Mexico coming off their biggest win of the year against Utah State, a 19-point victory on the road. And they were underdogs in that game. Looking at tonight, the women are playing New Mexico tonight. They tip off at 8:30. The women had a shocking loss to New Mexico earlier this year, losing to the Lobos 78-34. The Rams had a slow start and did not come out with a lot of energy. I believe that the Rams will come out a lot stronger in this game and will not trail from the very start. The Rams were down 26-10 in this first quarter. I do not expect that from the Rams tonight. I expect them to handle this New Mexico team tonight and get a big win road in conference play. And now we're going to keep things on the court, but in rare CTV fashion, let's dive into some NBA news.
Now, I know this is definitely not typical
No,
for
no,
CTV Sports.
You
I know
don't hear NBA come out of our mouths very often.
we bring it up, but we definitely don't bring up this kind of content
Right.
about the NBA. We bring up mostly scores, maybe our MVP predictions.
But as we're soon going to find out, this
Yeah.
content does not happen
No.
every single week.
No.
Okay,
So-
this is once in a blue moon. Nobody saw this
let's
coming.
get
type
straight
of thing.
into it.
Yeah.
We're going to the first trade we have to talk about.
Yeah.
I'd say the craziest trade I've seen in any sport.
I mean,
ever.
at least in our lifetime.
So let's break
for
it down.
Sure.
It's
yeah.
Luka Doncic going to the Lakers. The
LeBron.
five-time in his
Yeah.
first 6 seasons, Luka has made the team that says basically you're a top 5 NBA player.
Well,
He's
at
made
25 years old.
At 25
Yeah,
years old,
at
he's made
25.
that team 5 times. You trade him to the Lakers. He's the cornerstone of your team. You
Yeah.
trade him to the Lakers. You get a good piece back.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis is nothing to laugh at.
No, he's
like
getting
I'd say.
on the older side, but still a very, very good big man basketball
But
player.
again, this is the first time you've ever seen 2 All-NBA players traded for each other,
Yeah.
especially in the middle of the
And
season.
yeah, this was the first time this has ever happened mid-season. Top
Completely
10.
shakes it up.
I mean, those 2 names especially. You saw all the tweets, all of
Yeah.
the reactions. Nobody saw this coming.
Right.
I mean, LeBron James himself says he was out to dinner.
They all say that they
with his
didn't know about it.
family.
Yep. They all say they didn't know
And
about
Lucas
it.
said that the first person who called him once
Yep.
that trade was released was LeBron himself. Obviously, talking about how excited they are to have that kind of
It's
duo
just crazy
on
to
the
see
team.
those 2 guys,
Yeah.
who are basically just 2 guys that are always averaging 27, 7 and 7. They're always just putting up insane stat lines,
Yeah.
winning you games pretty much by themselves. I mean,
Yeah.
Luka willed that team
That's
to the
exactly
finals
what I was
last year.
saying. That's the type of player that can influence
ship
the
him off.
rest of the season
And you just ship
every
him off.
single
I
day.
don't,
Yeah.
I don't get it from the Mavericks perspective. And their GM, he went out and he had some statements about it.
Yeah.
None of them made sense. None of them defended
I
his
was thinking the
decision
exact
really
same
well.
thing.
And it just seemed awkward when he was talking about it with Jason Kidd, their head coach.
Something about general managers in Dallas. I don't know
I
what's
guess,
in the
yeah,
water,
it's
but
bad.
they make some horrible
No,
decisions. And
it's-
this one was nothing short of bad, in my opinion.
think-
It's been a couple days. I've
Yeah.
tried to understand it,
You can't.
and I can't.
You
I
can't.
don't get
Luka
it.
brought so many fans to Dallas,
Yeah.
and you basically just threw them away.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you do it.
I heard a couple different reasonings that
Yeah,
have been thrown out
yeah.
there as to why he was traded. Some of which I do understand as to why you wouldn't want him on the roster.
But if the reasoning is just because of conditioning, because he won't stay in shape.
It's not big enough for me.
He's averaging 38 and 8.
Yeah, why does it matter?
While being out of shape is what you're going to tell me? Like, that doesn't add up to me.
Yeah, why does it matter at that
Right.
point if you're running a 13-minute mile?
I
if you're
couldn't
putting
care.
up 40 points a game,
Yeah, and you're taking me to the
fine.
finals, right. I couldn't care less if you're going to be out of shape. But that's just one of the trades.
I was going to say the second one, not as influential, but
players,
still
no,
incredibly
definitely.
unexpected.
So the second one was De'Aaron Fox,
Right.
the star point guard. He should have way more accolades at this point.
I agree.
But
I agree.
He's
His
put up a
name's
lot
not
of
brought
empty,
up. Yep.
empty stats on the Kings, but a great player. He's going to fit amazingly with the alien.
I'm excited about it.
at the Spurs with Wemby.
I'm excited about
But
it.
just going into it more, it's Zach LaVine gets in on this from a 3-team deal.
Yeah.
I don't love it for the Kings. I don't love it for the Bulls.
No,
I'd love
the
to
Bull-
fit with the Spurs.
Yeah, I was going to say the Spurs came out on top on this one. The
For sure.
Bulls were way
Lost.
down.
They lost
I
it.
don't know what their game plan
No.
was. Same as the Mavs there. I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah.
I think they completely shuffled everything out of order.
I mean,
in
just a
terms of what
year
they're looking
ago,
for.
the Bulls were able to get first rounders for Zach LaVine. Now you're getting 3 role players and your own first round pick back.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like enough for giving away a guy that you were saying was the cornerstone of your
I
franchise.
was just about to say he was the roots. He was the whole thing. He
It
was the
doesn't
whole
make sense.
team,
No.
and then they just let him go.
But you know what? We focus on the positive. De'Aaron Fox and
Silver lining.
Wemby, I think, are going to be one of my favorite duos to watch. I
Absolutely.
mean, the speed that Fox plays with complements Wemby so well. Just
Yeah.
imagine going downhill, everyone crowd Fox. Wemby's wide open for a dunk.
I was
It's
just about to
impossible.
say the Spurs. I don't think they were a name people were expecting to say
No.
very often. At least in the next couple years,
no.
they were looking for a rebuild eventually.
Right.
And one of the biggest points with this trade is that rebuild is being sped
Oh,
up
sped up
dramatically.
majorly, yeah.
Dramatically.
And this is
sped
what
up
they're
because
missing.
of-
They were missing a point guard that can get Wemby involved,
Yeah.
but also score for himself. This is a perfect match, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
and I mean, to go back to the Mavs really quick, they did need somebody like AD.
Yeah, for sure.
But that was such an interesting choice to let go of Luka in the
Again, I
process.
still think need is a weird word because they had 2 good big men.
Yeah.
Derek Lively and Gafford.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're good enough. They got you to a finals
I would say they got him there. They did
last
the job.
year. So it's just
Yeah.
like, I don't I don't see the reasoning for why the Mavericks did it.
I don't think we will.
Also, the weirdest part of that is that they didn't offer it to the rest of the league.
Yeah.
It's just the Lakers. It just seems fishy. the
I
whole
heard
thing.
that very clicky, very gatekeeped.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But we could talk about it for
No.
hours on end, and I don't think we would ever.
We'll cut
come
it off
to-
there for the NBA talk.
Come to a conclusion
Yeah.
with it. No, I agree. That's good.
Let's go to some NFL talk. But first, we're going to go to a break.
Yeah.
Build up some suspense. Now we're going to talk some of our biggest takes from the big game this weekend.
And Hunter's got to join us
Yeah,
again, of
stay
course.
tuned. Sweet.
Hi. You think you're probably sober?
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that?
Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. Here at CTV, we have put off most talk about the big game this weekend, but the time has finally come. Each of us have our opinions per usual, but there's certain aspects of this matchup I think we need to discuss that are just like things that people wouldn't talk about.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I guess.
The specifics
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
often. Yeah, if
So,
this happens, this might happen.
I'll start us off. I don't know if mine are that crazy. I think my second one might be a little controversial.
All right.
My first hot take is that the Eagles cannot, there's no way they can win unless they force two or more turnovers against the Chiefs.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I don't disagree with
Okay.
you. I don't think turnovers are going to be the make or break of the game
Okay.
if the Eagles have a perfect performance
Right.
otherwise.
Well, that's
you know. But I do agree that when the Chiefs keep the ball, they hold the ball, and when the ball's in Patrick Mahomes'
Yeah.
hands,
It's too easy. They're possessing too easy.
yeah, I agree. Hunter.
Yeah, I think turnovers, like you said, won't be really a factor in this one,
All
but
right.
I think this one's gonna be a little low scoring.
Yeah, you got
Yeah, I
the
was going
under
to say
opinion
the
over
under
there.
on the 48.5. I do think it's going to be over. I think it's going to be an offensive game,
Yeah.
regardless of how strong these teams are
Well,
defensively.
so I guess my second take here kind of goes against that. That I think that even if Barkley has the best game a running back has ever had in the Super Bowl, he could have 200, 175 yards,
Yeah.
3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, and the Chiefs could still win the game.
I don't want to say that's empty.
Okay.
But I think there are just loopholes around that.
Okay.
I think Saquon could have 4 or 5 touchdowns and the Eagles could still lose
Yeah,
this game.
okay.
I think Patrick Mahomes could start throwing the ball deep, switch the things up on the Eagles defense a little bit because they're expecting him to keep it short. And the possessions could be short and the offense could be consistent. You know,
see
so
it.
I think it could be really high. But I also just think Saquon is he's the determining factor.
I just think if
Yeah.
Saquon goes off, then there's no way that the Chiefs aren't going to kind of stay on par with that,
Yeah,
keep
that's
scoring
what I'm
with
saying.
them.
I agree.
And I don't think they lose a shootout, I guess is what I'm saying. If the Chiefs are in it and it's 33-33, somehow they're going to find a way to get that last second field
heartbreaker.
goal.
A heartbreaker.
They always do. That's all they win. We talked about it last week. They just win those games at the end of the games.
You
So
don't
for-
think Saquon's going to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't.
over the
I think
under on
Saquon
Saquon,
is
right.
just gonna. I think he's gonna be more involved in the pass game for sure. I
Okay,
think they're gonna
okay.
throw a lot of dump offs to him and just let him go to work. I think the Chiefs are gonna stack 7-8 man in the box, make him throw the ball, and they're not gonna run it, but they're gonna give it to him different ways. I think.
They're definitely going to stack the box.
I'll
say that.
That's all they're focusing on these
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, since the last time the Eagles have played, since the Chiefs have played,
Yeah.
they want to stop Saquon. That's the whole point. Saquon is the name of the game, right? So if they stop him, they force Jalen to throw. That's where I think things are going to get hairy.
He
for
does. He
Philadelphia.
does have weapons out there. If you don't have Saquon at least doing something, like getting close to the 100-yard mark, averaging a lot of yards per carry, there's no way the Eagles are going to compete. There's a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the line is 1.5.
It's close,
Which
yeah.
is close.
It's close.
I don't personally think it should be that close. I think they're giving the Eagles a little bit too much credit against a team like the Chiefs, and I don't think
But
they're giving the
it's
Chiefs
always
enough
close
credit.
games with Chiefs.
The weird thing they do with the Super Bowl too is every year they make it so close with the Chiefs. They always make them underdogs,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
I
of
was
course.
for sure they was going to be underdogs this
And they're
game
not
again.
they're not the underdog, though.
right?
That's
No.
the problem.
But they always make it close.
But
with
the
Chiefs
line
in
is
the Super Bowl.
honestly, it's pretty close to what the number is going to be because they're probably going to win by 3. They're always winning those
Yeah.
one-score final play type of games.
Yeah.
100%.
No, unfortunately. But I want to hear more as to
Unfortunately,
what Hunter has to say as to why he doesn't think Saquon is going to show up.
Well, I think he's going to show up. I just don't think you're going to see it in the running game. I
Okay.
think you're going to see a ton of screens. You're going to see a ton of dump offs.
Gotcha.
He's going to run the ball, but I just don't think. I think they're going to stack him. he's not going to break one out. I just think you're going to see a bunch of passing. You're going to see Jalen Hurts probably throw for 300 yards, I think, at least. I think the Eagles...
300?
The Eagles are so due.
That's a lot of yards.
They're so due for the deep ball. I mean, when's the last time they hit a deep ball?
So are the Chiefs. So are both teams are due for the deep ball.
But
are you saying he's hitting 3 or 4 deep balls? Or?
I'm saying at least he's hitting probably. I mean, last time they played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, he threw a 51-yarder.
That was a shootout.
A.J. Brown. So I think, at least if the Eagles are going to try to stay competitive, he's going to have to throw for 300 yards.
Okay. I don't mind it.
I was going to say, but my first take is kind of the exact opposite of what you have to say. Okay. Now, I don't think that that's improbable, but I think if Jalen has 120 plus passing yards at halftime, the Eagles are going to lose the game. The Eagles,
what's wrong with
according to Hunter's line of 275, 300.
So your issue is with Jalen throwing. You're saying they're a worse team when he's throwing more.
I don't think he should have to throw the ball.
What if he's just dumping off to Saquon and he goes 80 yards?
Well, I was going to say first down, they're going to hand it to Saquon, right? And if he gets stuffed, then they're going to be forced to throw it. Yeah. And I just don't think you want Jalen Hurts throwing the ball 300 yards worth. Okay, I think not the worst games the Eagles had this season, but the weaker ones, Jalen still had a ton of passing yards, and it didn't translate to the score. Just because he's throwing 300 yards does not mean that they're putting touchdowns on the board. That just means they're moving downfield.
Are you saying Saquon needs to have a big game, though?
Saquon needs to have a huge game. Yeah, he needs to find the holes. He needs to break through. I think he needs at least 175,
so
3
I'm saying
touchdowns.
If he does that, he goes off. What does Hurts need to do on top of that? If you're saying he can't go off, what does he need to do on top of that to complement it?
Yeah, see, that's a good question. I think just the predictability of giving the ball to Saquon, they do need to switch things up, give it some variety, go each way, find the middle. I just think that, if they keep it consistent, the Chiefs are going to catch on. Obviously, their defense is incredible at being adaptive. That's why they win so many second halves in the season. But I think they need to keep... Second hot take. Speaking of the Chiefs defense, Spags. I think he is one of my favorite people, one of my favorite personnel in the NFL. Not just on the Chiefs as to why I think they're going to win, but I think the Spags dynasty, is more important and should be talked about more than the Patrick Mahomes three-peat dynasty.
Why?
I don't think that the Chiefs would even have the opportunity to win this third Super Bowl in a row if it wasn't for him. I think he has played such a huge part in their success. Everything started to click.
Teams don't win without defense?
No, teams. Okay.
I'm just saying. You could say this about every team, that the defense just played well, and that's why they won.
Where was Spags the first couple of years when it was offense dominant? With
he was there.
He was there, but they were not dominant. They were losing the games.
That's what we're saying. It's just
I understand they had those games that they choked later in the season. Okay. I just think that he got it together. He figured out what this team needs to do to win. He made it the Chiefs' defense. He made them unstoppable.
I want to agree with you, but then you look at so many of these one-score games where Spags let up so many points and the offense just had to keep responding. That's I'm not saying Spags is bad by any means. He's a great defensive coordinator. I just don't think he deserves more credit than someone like a Patrick Mahomes.
Complete hypothetical question here. Nothing to do with my take. Do you think he intentionally maybe gives the opponent a little bit more wiggle room because he knows the Chiefs' offense is more likely to respond to closer games? Do you think that's just who they are? Complete hypothetical.
You're asking if I think the defensive coordinator wants to let the other team score so that the offense can respond?
You took words that I did not say and put them together.
You're talking about a team in the Chiefs that didn't score 30 points until last week.
Yeah.
I said
they don't respond really well to teams that score a lot of points.
The Chiefs are the best in close games.
Right.
What do you need to do to win? Have a close game.
But they're always winning because the offense scores. They drive the field with Patrick Mahomes.
I truly think this Chiefs team would not be even close to what it is without Spags.
I mean, that's fine, but he's not more important than Mahomes.
I didn't say he was more important.
You're saying he's the main piece. It's a Spags dynasty.
It's so underrated and not talked about enough in comparison to the Patrick Mahomes
I understand,
dynasty.
but are you saying it should be called the Spags dynasty? That's what I'm at. That's what I feel like you're
No, because he's not on the field. He's not playing the game. He's not.
I know, but is that the take you're making?
But the Spags dynasty is huge.
Okay.
It's huge, and it's not acknowledged enough. I don't even think 90% of the people who
I can
are
agree with
watching the
that.
Super Bowl on Sunday know who Spags is. And that
I'm not gonna
disturbs
lie.
me
I don't
deep
think a
down.
lot of our audience knows who Spags is.
The defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes,
Okay,
there we
that's in case that was not made
Look,
clear
he's
by this
important.
conversation.
All I'll say is that he's not the most important, and he's not. For me, he's probably top 5 most important people
On the
for this-
Chiefs?
for this dynasty.
Personnel and players?
Personnel and players.
Okay, give me your top 4.
Patrick Mahomes is 1.
Okay.
Andy Reid easily 2.
Okay.
And I'm throwing Kelsey. I'm throwing Chris Jones. I'm throwing a lot of
Kelsey
people.
acts like he doesn't care anymore.
Oh my! But he cares. But he cares enough to win Super Bowls. That's all I'm saying.
You know, they asked him last night where he'd be in 3 years. He said he'd be right back with Kansas
Yeah.
City in 3
No,
years.
I don't believe that for a
So
second.
he's
gonna
retiring after this or
continue
what?
just-
I don't think he's going to retire after they win this Super Bowl. Okay.
Okay, but is he proposing? Is he proposing to
There's
Taylor
another.
Swift?
There's another take for the night.
Well,
Is
yes or
he
no?
if they win, yes.
Okay.
If they lose,
100%.
no.
If they lose, no, though.
I mean, this was talk of last Super Bowl, and they were, what, together 4 months?
I'm just saying.
So,
If they lose,
It
they
was
no.
fresh last
yeah,
year.
it was
yeah.
fresh last year. You know,
Okay.
what are they, a year, maybe 2 years in?
I was gonna say, I think
Wouldn't
they're
be
at the
surprised.
exact
The three-peat,
timeline
first
where
one ever, I
celebrities
mean-
usually.
Not first one
no,
ever.
no,
The
not first
Packers
one
did
ever.
it
The
back
Packers
then.
did it.
Come
But
on
I know
now.
you're gonna say the TV was just being invented
Oh
and
my
it was
goodness.
forever
The
ago.
Super
Bowl was a
it
year
still
earlier.
counts
If
as
it's
a
not
three-peat.
called a Super Bowl, it's not a three-peat of a Super Bowl. That does not matter to anything in the Super Bowl
The
era.
Packers did it.
Yeah.
The Packers did it.
Goodness.
The Green
Oh
Bay
my
Packers
goodness.
have won 3 titles in a row.
Twice.
Twice.
If it doesn't say Super Bowl, it's not a title. That's all I'm going to say. We can end
Patrick-
the show right there. Nope, we can end the show right there. If it's not a Super Bowl, it's not a title.
Patrick Mahomes will be if done properly,
Oh, yeah,
will be
sorry.
the first to win
Yeah.
3 Super Bowls
Yep.
in a row.
Yeah.
I can agree with that statement.
There we go.
Just all depends how it's articulated.
Whatever. Whatever.
That is all we've
I
got
think
for
we
you
end there,
tonight,
yep.
Rams.
Agreed.
I think that's a great place to end it.
Agreed.
Have a great rest of your night and enjoy the nice weather this week. We'll see you next Tuesday.